brought to you by Barton Community College. Explore your future and get started now. Visit gobarton.com.
Okay, Sports Day in 3, 2, 1.
Here's the pitch. Fastball stroke back up the middle. Base hit into center field. Isbell rounds third. He's in to score standing. Salvador Perez drives in another run.
I mean, that's huge. It's a, so far make every start and, to pitch deep into games consistently. Locate more pitches. I don't think there was a pitch that I didn't think I could throw where I wanted. It was just one of those nights I had everything working.
Your process has to speed up. You have to get more recovery in. You're not going to have as many practice to hash out all the details, so you have to take mental reps when you're on the sideline. You have to watch film, as much film as you can, especially as a group, because you're not going to get as many practices as you would on a regular week.
They've been dominant in 2 games and maybe didn't need to show some things that we'll have to be ready for. There's still a bit of an unknown there, just like there was last weekend.
Blocking was huge. Obviously, I play on the right side, so most of the time I have a team's biggest hitter across the net from me on the outside. And so contributing offensively on a team like ours is simple.
This is our toughest weekend ahead. We play 3 ranked teams. So we play Indian Hills, who's number 10. We play Western Nebraska, who I think is 17. Odessa, who's 15. And then we play Laramie, who took a set off of the number 1 team. So this weekend is definitely our most challenging weekend.
Quarterback play yesterday was not very good overall. In general, not very good. There were some really good performances, but I saw some really bad quarterback play. Now, you expect some of that from the rookies, of course.
He took snaps under center. He was in the shotgun, doing his normal things, passing with receivers, and even doing his usual handshakes with them. So it was really not much out of the norm.
And good afternoon. Welcome to Sports Day on 1590 KVGB, 95.5 FM, the talk of the town. Welcome to the Wednesday show. Steve Webster with you. Mike Corson in studio, along with Mike Hesher. Our studio engineer today is, you say Clubber Lang?
Yeah, Clubber.
Clubber Lang. Be careful, Hesher. Sitting right next to him right now.
I'm waiting for the backhand.
On the show today, we'll be talking Great Bend Panther volleyball with head coach Shelley Duvall. She'll bring in a couple of juniors today, Kimmy Hoflinger and Ava Kaiser. Kansas Pregame Magazine publisher John Betts will return to the show this week to talk football, because he said we talked everything else but football last week. I don't concur with that, but good old stories from the road. And the voice of the Tigers, Gerard Welbrock, will talk about the Tigers' 2-0 start to start the 2024 season. We'll get to some sports headlines later in the show, but we start with the sounds of the past 24 hours or so. The call here on KVGB last night, Salvador Perez. 100 RBIs this year for the Iuka Hustlers. Even though they're not playing, they played an inter-squad last night. Good night for Salvi. He got to 100. Bobby Witt Jr. knocked in a run. He has 99 RBIs. The Royals win 5-0. What'd we say yesterday? Leave the starter out there. Seth Lugo, he should have gone 9. He only went 7, allowed 3 hits, walking none, striking out 10, and the Royals bullpen came in and closed it out, and Kansas City gets a big win. They remain 3.5 behind Cleveland in the race for the division title, 2.5 games ahead of Minnesota for the second wild card spot, and they're only 3 games behind the Orioles. If they could pass them, they would host a wild card series in the first round. The Royals tonight will play the Yankees again. It will be game number 20 of the 20-game Murderer Rose stretch that we talked about. Kansas City goes into that game tonight 9-10. We said if they could go 500, they would be in great shape. I think they've taken care of some business. See what they can do tonight in New York.
I'd take 9-11. I mean, you got Cole Reagan's going tonight, so obviously you hope for the best. But 9-11 starting that 20-game stretch, I'd be happy with that.
Salvi is the oldest catcher. There's only been 3 catchers at his age to have 100 RBIs, so he's one of the 3 now.
One thing that Salvi plays every day.
He does cheat a little bit because he gets a lot of time at first.
Well, no, I mean, but that's. I mean, a lot of times you don't worry about it because your catcher is not going to be a big offensive producer. But he's been getting time DH. He's been playing a lot at first base. He also catches.
And that's helped by Freddie Fermin being.
How many catchers going to get 600 at bats in a season? Not very many.
Not very many.
And Bobby still, I believe, 2 stolen bases away from 30-30. So he keeps getting the other stuff, hits, home runs, RBIs, but hasn't stolen any bases lately.
It's because he's not a very good base runner.
He's a 5-tool guy, Mike.
Oh, that's his weakness is the base running right now.
I think 30-30 is pretty cool, but when you see Shohei Ohtani close it in on 50-50,
Yeah, who cares? Right? I mean, come on.
Jose Canseco was the first 40-40 guy.
40-40 what?
Pounds in each arm.
I was going to say 40 steroids a day or something.
We'll have Royals baseball for you tonight, 5:30 here on KVGB. Okay, it's Friday Night Lights. No, is Friday Night Lights high school? No, it's college this week for both KU and K-State. That was Wildcat safety Jordan Riley. He transferred from Mid-America from a MAC school, Ball State. And MAC schools usually play on different days. The way you see them play on Wednesday, they play on Thursday. Says you got to change your preparation, move it up. K-State with a big one on Friday night. They host 20th-ranked Arizona in the Big 12 opener for both teams.
Remember the big rivalry back then, Ball State and Strike State. Yeah, so that was on.
That's not a success, though, was it?
You shut up. That was a success.
I was going to say, if I said that, you would shut my mic off.
KU offensive coordinator Jeff Grimes says UNLV hasn't had to show much defensively in their first two games. KU takes on UNLV at, of course, Children's Mercy Park in Kansas City Friday night. UNLV beat Houston in their opener. I didn't know Utah had a Utah Tech.
I didn't either. I didn't know that at Utah State till 4 or 5 years ago. I'm a little slow.
72-14, they beat Utah Tech.
Okay, so what's the protocol here? I'm going to be on sideline at Great Bend, Olathe South. I'm hoping the guy on the loudspeakers, Kurt, will not tell us any scores. Are you giving out scores on the radio?
I don't give out scores during the broadcast.
It's that full-service radio that you've come to expect.
It's tricky because it is. You want full service, but a lot of people are going to be DVRing the game, so we want to get home and watch it.
Focused on the game in front of me.
I forgot KU even played UNLV last year in the guaranteed.
I kind of did too till they were talking about
49-36. Jason Bean had 6 touchdown passes in that game.
So they're trying to compare the differences between the last year and this year, and there's not a lot of difference. The same.
Well, they don't know.
Well,
because they have
you got a new offensive coordinator, you got a new quarterback or a returning quarterback.
KU needs to win. They need a win. Maya Thompson. That was interesting to find out yesterday, and I think Maya had mentioned that last year that she didn't want to come to Barton out of high school in Hutchinson. She was going to go to Fort Hays State, and then eventually ended up here. She didn't want to come here because her brother was here.
So when I asked, where's your brother, that's why she said...
No, because she's getting tired of getting comparisons with her brother who won a national championship.
No,
she said that'd be pretty cool.
She's a volleyball. They're number 4.
You got sneered at.
I deserved it, but no, I know they're number 4. You can come in here. You're your own.
She's talking about coming back for her sophomore year, specific goals she has in mind, blocking. Lady Cougars are in action tonight. They take on the McPherson JV at the Kirkman Center.
Which don't overlook it. You just heard all the rankings they've got coming up.
Well, that was Megan Bessiker, head coach, talking about with 11-0 right now. They'll be 12-0. I'm going to call that right now. There's no lines, so don't go down there. In fact, how do you place a bet for a volleyball anyway?
You got your sets. You got your overall. They're going to take it in 3, 3.5.
I don't think we've offered volleyball.
I was going to say, can you actually bet on volleyball?
Oh, I'm sure you can.
I'm sure. Well, okay. Wow.
What's the over-under on kills this night?
Exactly, yeah.
It's 42.
So Barton, off to a great start, and Maya Thompson did say, yes, she would like to have a matching national championship ring to go along with her brother. Troy Aikman talking about the bad quarterback play the opening week of the season. From rookies in their first starts to high-paid quarterbacks. Let's see. The NFL failed to reach the usually easy to achieve threshold of 200 yards passing in a game. And it proved to be the least prolific week for throwing the ball since 2007. In all, teams averaged 188 net yards passing per game, the fewest in any week since Week 15 of 2007.
Preseason counts for something? That's what that tells me.
There was an interesting chat on the Royals broadcast last night how, and I'm guessing it applies to football too, spring training used to be 6 weeks of actual training to get back in shape because you worked a summer job. Well, now these guys are all specialized. They're making all the money. They don't need the spring training, so they don't want to get hurt, so they're not playing. So they're not quite tuned up.
And they did. I don't know, 18 games is what we're going to go to, it sounds like. I mean, that's a lot of football games.
There's also always shifts in, we're going to run the ball more this year because maybe defenses are finally adjusting to the open offenses.
Or there's a lot of rookie quarterbacks that are being thrust into action before they're ready to
ready to go. Yep.
And it's hot out. All those Tyreek's down on the concrete. Kidding.
You had to get that in somehow, did you?
If the policeman asks you to roll the window down, don't you roll the window down?
Generally.
If I'm in a $300,000 car, maybe not. I don't know.
Maybe the windows don't roll down.
And there's a darkly tinted, you can't see in them.
Well, speaking of that, I wonder if he's just going to get a ride to the game because the Bills take on the Miami Dolphins tomorrow night. And that is Buffalo Bills beat reporter Elena Getzenberg telling us Josh Allen did Allen-like things in practice, including giving the high five and
had handshakes.
Oh.
We just stop the show when she gets here? Is that what we do now?
It's okay, Mike.
Gee,
we're almost done here.
Holy cow.
We're almost done here.
Just hang on.
Bills and Dolphins. 1-0 after opening the weekend with wins heading into Thursday night's AFC East battle. There you go. Sounds of the past 24 hours. Coming up, Great Bend Panther volleyball. Shelley Duvall, juniors. Kimmy Hoflinger. Hoffling. I had it right the first time. Then I said, well, I'll change it. Well, batting 500. That's not bad.
Hall of Fame.
Yeah, exactly. Right there. I'm here.
He's already in the Hall of
Ava
Fame.
Kaiser coming up. Also, John Betts later on. Gerard Welbrock, voice of Fort Hays State Tigers. It's the Wednesday Sports Day show on KVGB.
Discover affordable education with Barton Online. Whether you're looking to pick up a class or earn your associate degree, we've got you covered for less than half the cost of a university. We are always enrolling with 5 sessions available this fall, including 16, 8, and 4-week sessions. Get started when it fits your schedule. Tackle your gen eds or the first 2 years of college with a low-cost pathway and save time and money with Barton Online. Visit online.bartoncccc.edu and enroll today.
Community bankers should actually know your community. Hi, I'm Sean Powelson, president of your local Equity Bank. As someone who lives here, I know many of you and I know what's important to you. I've been in the industry a long time and I've helped many navigate through financial challenges and lead them to financial opportunities. I believe that people bank with people, so I'd like to invite you to stop by one of our region's 5 locations and meet our friendly, helpful staff. Let us show you our commitment to serving you and our communities. Because at Equity Bank, we're right here beside you. Member FDIC.
As a farmer, I have thousands of more mouths to feed than the average person. What fuels me to get the job done? The smell of the soil and the hum of the combine. What fuels my equipment? Cenex Ruby Fieldmaster, a premium diesel fuel for the most challenging conditions. Better than any formula yet, delivering maximum uptime every time. Cenex Ruby Fieldmaster, fueled by innovation, powered to perform.
Contact American Plains Co-op Fuel Department in Great Bend, your certified Cenex distributor.
For the past 13 years, Sports Day has been the show devoted to local sports and local athletes. And it's all brought to you by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department.
Welcome into Sports Day, 1590 KVGB 95.5 FM. Mike Corson joined today by some Lady Panther volleyballers, Coach Shelley Duvall, and I did not write down their names. Hofflinger, what's your? Kimberly Hofflinger and Ava Kaiser. And once again, Sports Day is brought to you by...
Sports Day is brought to you in part by the Animal Medical Center in Great Bend. Big or small, they take care of them all. Also brought to you by the Barton Cougar Booster Club, continuing their efforts to make the Barton Athletic Department the best in the country.
Yeah, you're hired. Don't make me do that again,
Nailed
Steve. All right. Coming off a record-setting season last year, you guys lost some people, but I'm looking at the standings. 4-0, Shelley Duvall. Talk about yesterday.
Yesterday went well. Played Guyman, Oklahoma, and saw our third WAC team already in our first 2 nights of play against Dodge City. Guyman was a little weaker. We kind of knew that going in, so it was a nice opportunity for us to do some new things and run some different rotations, and took them in 2, and then had a little fun with Dodge City in our first set, and then they decided to get their crowd riled up and bring the college team out there to kind of get in our heads a little bit the second set of the match, but we ended up winning it. So
brought them out in the stands.
Oh, they brought one of their players' mom is the coach at Dodge City, and so she brought her whole team to help cheer on, and then they had a pretty good little student section, so it was pretty fun. But what they don't understand is that works the polar opposite for us. We love when people try to get in our heads.
What would have been fun is to dress them up like Dodge City High School, have them warm up, and like the girls' jaw drops a little bit.
Yep.
Like, what is about to happen?
Well, not gonna lie, I would have been fine with that too. So
4-0.
4-0.
Ava Kaiser, a new libero this year. To me, that seems like one of the more difficult roles to step into. So, what does it take to step into that job?
You just have to always be aware of what's going on the court. Talk to your teammates about who has which ball. If you have it, you have to make sure to call. I don't know, just a whole bunch of thoughts going through your head on that. But
what's the experience coming into varsity level? Were you libero before somewhere?
On my club team, yes. Yes, for club.
And what is the switch, just for people like me? Say you're a normal backliner. What is the switch to libero mean?
I don't know. You get more opportunities to take the ball, and I don't know.
A lot of the libero, I think the hard part about that is when you first come in, especially if you've been like a defensive specialist or something like that, it is the person that ultimately you want to have the ball as much as possible. And they're your strongest passer, and the biggest thing is communicating, because we've got some other great girls back there. Kimmy's one of them that they kind of work that back row, and that libero's really got to be a leader.
Mm-hmm.
And Kimmy, so yeah, defensive specialist on your side. I was looking this afternoon.
Kimmy does it all.
Okay. About 3 of you back there with the same number of digs so far, but what I was noticing, kind of a young group. Got bigger hitters up front that are seniors, but that back row is all younger, mostly sophomores and juniors. How about the dynamics of having a group that's going to stay together for a little bit?
I mean, honestly, we've all been playing together a long time. So, our first couple of years of club when we were in 3rd grade, we've played with these girls all throughout. I'm really comfortable with the younger crew. They're really stepping it up, and they're proving that they belong in the back row there, and we're really counting on our front row because they're a very big presence on the court. So, yeah, I trust the front row, and I trust the back row to back them up.
What was you guys' roles? Ava, you've been around softball for sure. I haven't seen you, so I'm not sure of your any varsity experience last year.
Yeah, on softball, yes.
No
softball, and then Kimmy actually is one of our pretty good throwers for our track team too.
Yeah.
So, but both of them are new for the varsity experience on the volleyball court.
Well, so what's it come in like? It's still a relatively young squad, just 2 or 3 seniors in there, but man, they set the record last year. Any extra pressure for you guys coming into new varsity roles this year, Kimmy?
I wouldn't say particularly. It's not too much pressure, We've always been in these settings. Ava and I've played on the same club team for probably 5 years now, and we're used to that high level of competition. So stepping it up into school season really isn't much different. We know some of the people. We know Hayes, and beating Hayes is obviously a really big deal. So that's probably the most pressure we have all season, but we were ready for it when we got here.
Any big things for you, Ava?
I'd say the same thing, just, everything she said. Okay.
And you've played in some pressure games on the softball side. Do the sports kind of, is it the same deal, just different environment?
I don't know. Softball and volleyball are, to me, kind of the same. It's a team base, and you have to,
just work together. And absolutely.
Got Lady Panther volleyball coach Shelley Duvall and juniors Ava Kaiser and Kimmy Hofflinger in here. 4-0 start. Obviously, following last year's deal. What'd you say? Were they both 2-0s last night?
Yes. Oh, no, JV went 1-1.
I mean,
in sets, yes.
So yeah, 3 of your 4 sets now. That was a big thing we kept track of last year, was not only winning, but winning in those 2 sets. How are the expectations playing out for you guys, Kimmy?
I mean, we have a really big tournament coming up this weekend, a lot of high-level competition, so I think just keeping that focus and the team morale, we've been playing together really well this year, so we just need to keep that up through the tougher games. Obviously, last night wasn't the big competition we want to see, but
yeah. It was I think Dodge kind of surprised us a little bit just based upon their record. Their record didn't really show what they could do. They're going to be a fun little team to play in WAC, but everybody that plays us in the WAC plays their best when they play us. I don't know what it is, but especially Dodge.
Is that a new thing, or is that always been? Because obviously you guys have set the bar last year, and we talked about it last year that hey, all of a sudden Great Bend is the team to beat.
Well, I will say Dodge got a new coach this year, which was actually their JV coach who stepped up, and so they've kind of always been around, but it never fails. Dodge, out of all of the WAC teams, always plays their best volleyball against us, and I think it's just because I have a lot of respect for Dodge City. I don't think it's a huge rivalry per se. They're good girls. They work hard. And they're respectful, and I think that says a lot in the game of volleyball. Sometimes you can get teams that aren't so much like that, and we have a little bit of that in us once in a while too. But I think the WAC is going to be really competitive this year, but Dodge City just has a little something special because of Ashley coaching last year and the new coach this year. They're just a really good group of girls to play against. We have fun with them.
We've talked about kind of the court setup. You'll have some home matches later this year with the big court setup. So as a softball player, you got a crowd behind you, but there are ways, and there's not always an exciting play. And in track, they're breathing down your neck in the shot put ring, but you're only throwing every once in a while. Volleyball, you're going to have point. How much are you looking forward to that environment where a little bit up-tempo and crowd's right on your back again?
I mean, the crowd in volleyball is the best part of home games. We have, at Great Bend, we've talked about it a lot, but like, the people in our student section are so willing to have fun and encourage us, and we just don't see that in other places. You know, going to Dodge, their student section wasn't, anything that compared to ours. Our student section and our crowd and our families and just the people there to support us are so important. And it'll be really, really great once we start having those home games again.
Yeah, having that big court will be fun. They're right there next to us, and a lot of people don't really care for that. But I think for us, we haven't had the opportunity other than last year to really play on that big court. And having your student section right there, there's something to be said for that. Now, we leave the parents upstairs. They don't get to come downstairs. We leave them as far away from the girls as possible sometimes. But having those students right there just kind of gives you that extra pep that you need.
Makes me play a lot better, too, when I have.
Okay, so what about this? The scrimmage was Great Bend High School not wearing blue.
Yes, but that's because it was a class color competition for the Spirit Stick.
See.
So, yes, there was different colors. There was orange, blue, purple, and pink. So, calm down, Corson.
They were behind me, and I was
down.
like, it seems like these kids are cheering for Great Bend, but they're wearing blue.
They were. They were wearing all sorts of colors. But it was a competition because this year myself and Coach Davis have taken over the Pep Club. And so we've kind of integrated a few new things, and it includes a Spirit Stick, and that was one of the competitions to see which class could take over the Spirit Stick. And which class is winning currently? The Juniors won. Juniors won the first week of Spirit Stick. So
I saw the numbers at the Board of Education. It's the biggest class.
Well,
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I don't even know that. That's fake news.
So rude. Fake news. There you go.
Enthusiasm and spirit.
That's what they meant.
You missed the spirit fingers here, of course, and they can't see it.
We're talking to Lady Panther volleyball coach Shelly Duvall, and we have juniors Ava Kaiser and Kimmy Hofflinger. Coach, just for you, seeing those stats were exciting. I talked to you at the scrimmage. I said, who's this girl? Because I have not been acquainted with Miss Minton yet. Obviously, no Dax and Mike and Carrie, but got to see her in the stats. Obviously, little Ella Goods up there. How fun that you have 4 classes of representation on your squad this year.
Absolutely. I think that's the fun part for us. Michaela typically is a setter. She was on my Nationals club team setting for us, and she'll set for her club team too. But that position is hard when you got a Kaya Bear, a grade level in front of you. But Michaela's got some ups. She's got some really, really big swing in the front row. She's been gunning for being able to be on that varsity squad. And I think just with her stats in general, I don't think she had an error against Guyman at all. I think out of, 7 attack attempts, she had 6 kills and no errors. And you don't see much when she walks on the court, but she plays way bigger than she is. And I love that you called her little Ella Good. That just makes my heart happy because we say baby Ella Good, so it's about the same. Micah is just, she is a mini Cassie. And if she has any sort of fire by the time she's a senior, that girl is going to be a stud. And Micah is willing to do anything. We made a little adjustment last night and had her and Kara switch a little bit so Kara could play some middle, and she jumped right into that position. And I think having a couple freshmen along with our sophomores and juniors and being led with our senior group, I mean, what more can you ask for?
Girls, maybe one more for you. When I walked into the scrimmage, Shelly says, check this out. I've seen football locker rooms, professional, whatever. Your locker room, how much does that get you fired up for matches?
It's so much fun. Oh my gosh. Turning the lights off, putting the music on. I mean, we all just...
The music is
the
key thing.
Yeah. We come out of that locker room with fire. Like,
hey, they made fun of me last week about sparkly uniforms and what was it? Sassy uniform? I don't remember what I said, but stuff like that goes a long way for kids because it's just taking that extra time. Give them that moment of like, hey, I feel you. I got you. I'm going to hype you up. Let's do it. And if that means me sticking some black lights on the wall and turning some music on, I'll do it.
And I think you should let the opponents come in just so
Absolutely
they can
not
be jealous of you guys.
Well, I mean, for jealousy purposes, yes, but they don't get to get hype like we do.
No,
And I'm pretty sure our AC unit, don't tell anybody, even though this is totally on the radio, they smack it every time they come out. So if you hear something when you see us running out, it's because they're slapping the AC unit above the door. And yeah, I don't know how much longer that thing's going to last.
I'm going to invite the opponents in and play some Enya and some Celine Dion.
Ooh, perfect.
Yeah.
We'll go on. Yes.
Real quick, Shelly, where are you guys headed this week?
We are headed to Riley County on Saturday with our varsity. Our JV is headed to Scott City, and our freshmen are headed to, our C team is headed to Hutchison, but our C team plays at home tomorrow. So come support our Panther C team. We're only as good as our smallest little baby group, and we love our little C team group, so I'm excited to watch them.
Awesome. Lady Panther coach Shelly Duvall with juniors Ava Kaiser and Kimmy Hofflinger. Good luck in Riley County.
Thank you.
Thank you.
More Sports Day after this.
From the Mayo Money Management Studios, 1590 KVGB, Great Bend, and 95.5 FM K238CK, Hoisington.
If you're needing a healthcare plan for your business, let the experienced and dedicated staff at Freedom Claims Management Incorporated customize a health insurance plan that fits your business's need. Regardless if you're a large corporation or a small business on Main Street, Freedom Claims Management Incorporated can help you provide your employees with great health coverage at an affordable cost. Visit freedomclaimsinc.com where you can schedule a free, no obligation health assessment today. Freedom Claims Management Incorporated in Great Bend.
Hey everyone, this is Cole Ryan, voice of the Barton Cougars. Attending sporting events for Barton Community College is great, but did you know you can support the athletic teams even further by getting involved with the Cougar Booster Club? The Boosters help with fundraising for equipment and facility upgrades to give Barton athletes every opportunity to keep succeeding at the regional and national levels. Join the Cougar Booster Club as an individual or business. Call 620-792-9377. Become a booster today for the Cougars.
Sports, leisure, fitness, and wellness. Even senior and active needs. It's all here at Great Bend Rec.
Yeah,
Pick up a program guide or stop by the rec office at 1214 Stone in Great Bend. Or check out the website, greatbendrec.com. Live, play, explore.
How thin are we on?
It's all here at Great Bend.
I need a flush toilet.
Sports Day presents On the Prowl with Mike Corson, an inside look at all the sports taking place at Great Bend High School.
Now, in its 13th year, this program is brought to you exclusively by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department. This is Sports Day on KVGB.
All right, Sports Day here on KVGB. John Betts, publisher of Kansas Pregame Magazine, KansasPregameMagazine.com. He's all over, and he's with us again this week. John, we need to get to football today, okay? That's what the message was last week. So.
Honestly, we can talk about whatever. I just want the radio audience to enjoy their experience. And
how could they not have How could they not have last week? I'm just saying. Okay, week one in the books right now. What stood out for John Betts the most last week? What caught your eye? Result, performance, anything?
Well, a lot of things mostly went the way that I thought they would, but there's always going to be some stuff that kind of creeps up. I wasn't necessarily shocked that Hoisington lost. I was just kind of shocked that they lost so soundly. I have not looked deeply into that game at all yet, so I don't know what the situation there is. You can never just look at the score and know, because you don't know what the fumbles and penalties and
injuries.
Yes, injuries.
Yeah, Jason Robinson went down like before he even ran a snap in that game. So they've got some.
Gotcha.
They've got some things to work out as they get ready to take on Heston this week. But
absolutely
fun matchups.
I like Heston. They have a good team. Reed Friesen at quarterback, and they present a lot of challenges with the scheme that they run. Which, a lot of people run spread schemes in this day and age, but they're still really hard to defend, and to have to every week. And if Jason Robinson is not back, obviously that makes it incredibly tough for them because of how important he is in the secondary. So, that was one result that stood out was Hoisington's lopsided loss, if you will, to Pratt.
Okay, and of course with your pregame magazine, of course you're always talking about top players in the state, and so I want to talk about some of the top players in our area, or Northwest Kansas, North Central Kansas, some of the top performers people can be watching here in the 2024 season.
Well, and I didn't. I think I said this last time, but I didn't intend to come on and just talk about Great Bend. But, man, they looked incredible. Cooper Onmacht, is that how you say his name? Omot. Man, looked athletic. And Ian Bremer looked the part. I mean, they look so athletic. And, even did a little throwback pass there to kind of a trick play to Daxton Minton and Jay Sharts that played running back. He was a kid I didn't even really see being a huge factor for them this season, at least on the offensive side of the ball. And boy, he made some fantastic plays. I don't know if you know this or not, but we talked about Olathe South last time, and I actually got it mixed up in my head and thought that was who they were playing last week. So somewhere out there's a radio segment with me talking for 3 minutes about how big the Great Bend Olathe South game was going to be last week. Well, now it is going to be a big game because Olathe South looked good against Mill Valley. If Mill Valley doesn't have Jaden Woods, who currently is committed to Penn State and had an offer from Alabama, he makes 3 sacks, 2 of them in the final quarter, and then they brand new running back, it's Richie, I cannot remember his last name, but he rushed for 259 yards. Wow. And they end up winning 42-35 over Olathe South. I think anytime a school from the KC Metro comes out and plays a WAC team, it's going to be a really good gauge for that WAC team. So it will be interesting to see if all of those athletes that Great Bend has look that athletic against a 6'8" Sunflower League team from the KC Metro.
Yeah, and another one of those matchups that is very interesting. We talked about Derby and Hayes last week. Derby kind of jumped on Hayes early, and they go on and win that. But how about the WAC? I mean, they're headed out there, and Dodge City goes to Olathe East, Garden City goes to Olathe Northwest, and Hayes goes out to Wheat Ridge, Colorado. So the Travelers in the Western Athletic Conference.
Yeah, and I knew Manhattan was good, and I would have said Manhattan would beat Garden City, but I didn't expect Manhattan to score 57 points before the half against Garden City.
No.
And have their whole second team squad in. Interestingly enough, Carter Aslan, the quarterback for Manhattan, his dad is either the offensive or defensive coordinator at Manhattan and was previously the head football coach at Garden City Community College. I'm assuming he probably has a great relationship with Brian Hill because both of those guys, coached out there before. So, but I was really shocked at how soundly they beat them. I was not shocked at the Derby outcome, other than Drew Kemp, the Mays transfer, who started at Mays last year. He transferred to Derby, and he was like 11 of 16 for 100 and something, and then rushed for 80 something. I didn't know whether he was going to be the starter in the Derby backfield or not, and I really don't think that a 40-7 margin against that Derby team indicates that Hayes is out of the picture in 5A at all, because I still think they have a good squad with a good group of guys, and they had a number of new pieces that they were breaking in there as well. So I think that Hayes squad is still going to be pretty solid.
Okay, let's talk 2A West a little bit right now, where, Norton right now is maybe the top of the heap. I don't know. Depends on which poll you look at. You've got Southeast Saline. Hoiston's going to be there as well. But tell me about Norton. What do you think about that ball club this year?
Really good. Eli Jones is kind of a prototypical quarterback, if you will. I think he's in the 6'2", 190, 200-pound range. I may have him a little short and a little wide, actually, for those numbers, but he does a great job. They have senior leadership across the board. They've got a bunch of beasts on the offensive and defensive line. I'm really high on that Norton squad this year, and I feel like they have a good chance to be the West Side 2A representative, and I feel like, I think everybody was probably alarmed by the Nemaha Central losing to Marysville. Marysville's improved, bigger school. They really slow the ball down and control time of possession, and I believe Nemaha Central rebuilding their offensive line. I mean, they lose 3 guys that are playing college football off of that offensive line, but they still have Carter Hike, they call him a quarterback, but Centralia runs single wing concepts, so he's really just a running back that occasionally throws the ball. Yeah. I think he threw 2 interceptions in that game, and I think there was another fumble. And I think Nemaha Central is still going to be really good. And there are teams like St. Mary's and Silver Lake and Council Grove and Osage City, and the east side looks very deep. But I think Norton really looks like the class of 2A West.
8-man results. We've got a good ball game coming up. Central Plains taking on Victoria. Central Plains getting off to a 1-0 start. They waxed Maxville 46-0 in their opener. And Victoria, again, in the rankings in 1A Division II. What do you think about those two programs?
Should be a really good game. I think Doug Overly is a native of Claflin. He's been this is his 19th season, I think, as head coach at Victoria. It's hard to imagine it's been that long, which it's been 19 seasons since Kansas pregame started as well. But Central Plains returned a lot of talent. They welcome in a new coach. So, the third coach in 3 years, which is, seems a little bit odd, but I don't serve on the Central Plains Board of Education, so I don't know what all's going on over there. But the Kreitz, they got a Kreitz kid that's playing quarterback, and they've got a number of other typical Claflin Central Plains names that are out there handling their business. And Victoria, Kyle Huser for Victoria on the offensive and defensive line is a kid that at minimum is going to play at a Fort Hays State. I think if there's not opportunities for him to play even a level higher than that, he's a really outstanding offensive and defensive lineman. So should be knockdown, drag out affair, I would think.
Okay, tell me about Sylvan, because how many players do they have out this year? I mean, last year they had to have the church ladies come together and sew some uniforms. They're like 40 players. So what?
I don't know how many they have out this year, but I was shocked by that result. Not because I didn't think Sylvan Lucas was going to be decent, but I had a chance to watch Thunder Ridge and Lincoln play in the jamboree that they had, and I was really impressed with Thunder Ridge. They were physical, they ran the ball well, which is, always kind of their MO. And so when I saw 50-0, I was like, well, Sylvan Lucas is maybe a little bit better than I thought they were going to be. I thought they would be hit hard by the graduation of Lane Homewood at quarterback and the final Batchman sibling in the backfield, and but there's that Zane Maupin, a sophomore running back for them, is going to be really an outstanding player, and they had pieces along the offensive line, and so that was a really good Week 1 victory for Sylvan Lucas.
There were some results that you just not used to seeing. Then you think, well, maybe this must be a typo or something. St. John 46, La Crosse nothing.
Yes, I saw somebody had St. John in the rankings this week, and I do think sometimes people tend to overreact a little bit, but certainly that was a shocking score. Probably I think a lot of people were probably shocked by Chapman 10, Smith Center 8. But Smith Center is really young, and it sounds like they had a couple of bad snaps in the punting game that maybe gave them really bad field position. But still, I think as young as Smith Center is, it might be a little bit of a struggle this year compared to the standard that they're used to.
Well, I guess the standard, you're talking about playing a 3A team, right? I mean,
true. Absolutely.
What happened?
But a 3A team with a first-year coach that only won 3 games last year, and their quarterback left to follow his dad to Bonner Springs, where he took a basketball coaching position. So there were some question marks on the Irish's side of the ball as well.
Okay, we always talk about the magazine so much. What can people find out when they go to just KansasPregame.com?
The best thing to do is go to KansasPregame.com and click on Get a Copy, and then you can scroll down and see articles for all of the different issues and see places that you can pick them up at. And, of course, some of the old standards are Next Tech Wireless, BTI, Advanced Therapy there in Great Bend, and Pizza Hut, but I'm sure all the Pizza Huts are all out of them already because people love to run out and get themselves a Pan Supreme and a copy of Kansas Pregame.
Okay, the best high school football venue in Kansas.
Oh, wow. I've always been, I'm going to be biased to Western Kansas because that's where I grew up, but I've always really liked Norton.
Yeah.
I love when you come into town from the south, that big hill where their stadium's built into. I've always really enjoyed that. Similar, Stockton has a hill like that too. And as a kid, I was always worried that I was going to fall down when we were taking the field. But the eastern half of the state, Gardner-Edgerton, that has the look of a kind of a Texas large class stadium. Now, not the ones that they have ones in Texas high schools in Texas, not Tesket, that hold 50,000, and they don't hold that many, but it's still a really fantastic looking facility.
Ellsworth is pretty cool.
Ellsworth is cool.
Yeah, it just sits down in there. Lincoln would be up there, but the officials dress in a place that could fit 2 people, and then you have to dress with a mascot before the game starts. So they get knocked out.
And there's probably mice in there too.
Yeah, that was a good conversation we had with the mascot when. Yeah.
I hope my wife doesn't hear this. She's on the school board.
Well, just let us dress at the stool. Come on. Anyway. Hey, John.
That's a long walk. You guys will get tired.
I expect a ride. Come on.
Yes. From the mascot.
From the mascot, yeah. All right. Hey, John, appreciate the time. We'll talk to you down the road here as we get through the football season, and it's going to be a good time.
Hey, thanks a lot. And remember, rankings don't matter, but please read ours at KansasPregame.com.
I will. And I do. So there you go. John Betts joining us here on Sports Day. We'll talk to the voice of the Tigers, Jordan Welbrock. That's next.
Discover affordable education with Barton Online. Whether you're looking to pick up a class or earn your associate degree, we've got you covered for less than half the cost of a university. We are always enrolling with 5 sessions available this fall, including 16, 8, and 4-week sessions. Get started when it fits your schedule. Tackle your gen eds or the first 2 years of college with a low-cost pathway and save time and money with Barton Online. Visit online.bartonccc.edu and enroll today.
Marmy Auto Group makes it happen. Central and Western Kansas. Check out our selection of new and pre-owned inventory. Marmy's friendly staff offers top quality service that you've gotten to know over the years. When your existing vehicle needs parts or service, our experienced team will get you back in the game this season. Marmy Chevrolet, GMC, Ford and Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep Ram, parts, service, and body shop. Visit Marmy Auto Group on 10th Street or marmys.net. Marmys, make it happen.
Dr. Nels here, Animal Medical Center, and today I wanted to visit with you about the power of a multi-doctor practice. And the power of a multi-doctor practice is we can serve many different people, many different personalities. The power of a multi-doctor practice is we have a lot of horsepower here, a lot of people. We can get a lot done. We can say yes, we can get you taken care of. The other cool thing about a multi-doctor practice is we're all different personalities, we're all different makes and models. Dr. Nels here, Animal Medical Center, large or small, we take care of them all.
Some people call him Gerard. Most people just call him Grr. It's time for Tiger Talk on Sports Day with the voice of the Fort Hays State Tigers. Here's Gerard Welbrock.
Sports Day brought to you in part by American Plains Co-op Bulk Fuel Department. Great Bend Recreation Commission, dedicated to improving our community and the lives of its individuals. In Eller Automotive Repair, they specialize in wheel alignments, oil changes, and general maintenance for all makes and models of cars and small trucks. George Welbrock joins us right now. George, so there's levels of monkeys that have been on backs, right? Because, there may be a chimp, it may be like a little spider monkey, you talk about get the monkey off your back. So what kind of primate was Missouri Western for the Fort Hays State Tigers?
I have not wanted to use the gorilla off your back for obvious reasons, but it's been about like that. I mean, it's been big. I think for everybody involved, and the way some of those have happened. So yeah, it was a giant monkey. Let's put it like that. An orangutan. How about that? I know we'll go with an orangutan. But yeah, it felt good to finally get by the Missouri Western State Griffins. And a lot of it's just how it has happened over the years. But yeah, it's crazy. They've had the Tigers' number, and Fort Hays State was able to flip that around Saturday.
30-16. That's flinging the orangutan off the back a little bit. So tell me about the game. How did it go? And some key things that happened for the Tigers.
Well, they forced some turnovers, which was nice. They're plus in the turnover margin this season. They haven't exactly taken advantage of it, I think, the way they would like to and the way they probably should, and they're going to have to, but it's good to see them getting some turnovers. They've had probably a few too many giveaways, but that was nice, so they got off to a good start. But then they have, to me, offensively, they haven't been real consistent. They had a chance to, I think, put it away early, scored 4-play drive to start the game, scored a touchdown, and then they force a 3-and-out, get a shank punt, take over in Griffin territory, and sputter and miss a long field goal, and then it was kind of back and forth. Western actually took a halftime lead, and then Fort Hays State was really good in the second half. Western blitzed. I mean, it's almost like they said, you know what, we're going after the quarterback every play, and I think they did. And Fort Hays adjusted well at halftime, did a better job of shoring up some of that, and did just enough to win. Got a touchdown last play of the third quarter to go up 10 and give them a little cushion, finally get a little separation and win it by 14. So, they played really well at times, other times okay. I don't think they've put anything together yet. What they're capable of, which I guess is a good thing when you're 2-0. And Chris Brown this week, I thought said it well. He goes, he has felt that maybe they played not to lose instead of to win. And we all know that's a big difference. And kind of felt that way. Just not giving that knockout punch when you have a chance. He had a chance to go up 14-0, 5 minutes into the game, and you maybe cruise to a victory. Not able to do that right now. Got to figure that out. But all things to work on. And like I told him at our coaches show today, nice problems to have when you're 2-0.
Okay, Northwest Missouri State this Saturday. Kind of give you the landscape, what you've seen the first 2 weeks of the MIAA before we get down to Northwest, who's coming off a down season for them.
Well, Central Missouri's as advertised. They got some dudes. They rolled. Pitt State's going to be really, really good. They're not gonna drop off any from a playoff team, I don't think. I think Fort Hays State's right there in the mix right there after that, and you got to play those two yet, so who knows? But they put themselves in a chance to be in the mix, and I think there's Emporia is obviously right there as well. You start comparing scores, and they beat at Washburn, they knocked off Angelo Saturday, similar type game, a little bit about the same. I mean, it was a closer game, but it was still very similar type to the Fort Hays State game. So I think that shows you they're about, they're very even. You always can't compare scores. And then I think you got a bunch of teams right there. It's surprising Northwest is 0-2. I think they're better than that. It's just been some bad stuff for early on, some turnovers, and they haven't been able to establish the ground game like they normally do. But I think it's going to be the same characters we thought going into the year that are going to be the teams to beat. But Fort Hays State certainly has given themselves a chance to be in that conversation with the 2-0 start and the 1-0 start to conference play. And this Saturday's huge because I know they're 0-2 and they have struggled a little bit. It's uncharacteristic of a Bearcat team, but they are good. They're a proud program. You don't win at the consistency that they have won and not be good. Fort Hays State's going to have to play better than they have in the first 2 weeks if they expect to come home 3-0 Saturday night.
Is Northwest, did they get a new coach? I mean, you see the level of success they've been at for, so
it's the same coach. I just think, I mean, what they have done and to maintain what they've done is remarkable. And I think for folks probably, if you're a Bearcat fan, you saw in basketball too. It's just like, you just expect to be in the championship every year. I don't care who you are. Alabama doesn't do that. I mean, they're still good, but you're just not going to be at that level every year. And they were for almost a decade. I mean, it's just hard to do that. And so I think they're going through a little ebb in the flow a little bit. They probably haven't had as good a quarterback play as they've had. I think the guys they've had have been good, but they maybe haven't been that top-tier guy. I mean, it's just excuse me. And this year, they haven't been able to establish the run for whatever reason. I mean, they've got a lot of returners on the offensive line. They're averaging 7.5 yards per game. That's per game on the ground. That's unheard of. And they've been a run-first, pound-you type team, and they just haven't been able to get that going. It's been a point of emphasis. Defensively, I think they're really good. Like they've always been. They get after it, but they had some turnovers that got them in a hole in their opener against Minnesota State. And, they did fine against Kearney. They just couldn't get anything going offensively. And, you lose by a score, 21-14. So I think they're still good. They're probably not the level they've been when they're competing for national championships, but they're still a good team, a proud organization. They're going to be locked and loaded, I think, Saturday night. It's probably, for them, it's do or die. This is make or break. You start 0-3, and then who knows what's going to go the rest of the way. So Fort Hays State's going to get their best shot, I think. No doubt about that.
What's game night like in Maryville, Missouri?
It's interesting. Usually they haven't had. I need to go back and check. I was talking to one of their broadcasters, and they were trying to find it. They haven't had. They can't remember the last time they had a regular season conference game at night. Usually they play in the afternoon. So this is something new, and I think, the fact they haven't been quite as good as they've been, their crowds have dropped, so I think they're looking at it sounds crazy, because when they were rolling, it's incredible. It's a great atmosphere. It's a facility that is really nice. It's an older facility. It's been remodeled once. But like their opener against Minnesota State did not have as big a crowd, 4,000, which is not a bad crowd, but that's usually a 7,000 crowd. So they've been drawing quite as good as they normally do. But it's still a raucous crowd. They're knowledgeable fan base. Their students are always in pretty rare form. So it should be a lot of fun. I think it'll be a good environment. Fort Hays State, their Saturday night with Western was unreal. Over 6,500. It was rocking, especially after that early score. So I imagine it'll be something similar to that, and it should be a lot of fun. And you got to play well. You got to block that out because they can get in your head if you let them.
Real quick, headed to Missouri. I don't know, at the end of the summer, we stayed in Pittsburgh, and I drove down. What is that? Kearney Smith Stadium.
Kearney Smith Stadium. Yeah.
Been a while since I've been there, Gur.
Yeah. A little different, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks a lot different. I was wondering, well, how did they used to walk from from their warehouse where they play basketball at, then because there's like parking lots and trees and just one of the things 23, 24 years go by.
It's a long walk.
Yeah,
it's a long walk.
It is. All right, hey Gur, thanks for the update. We'll talk to you next week.
Always appreciate it, Steve.
Okay, Gerard Welbrock, voice of the Fort Hays State Tigers, with us on Sports Day.
Community bankers should actually know your community. Hi, I'm Sean Powelson, president of your local Equity Bank. As someone who lives here, I know many of you, and I know what's important to you. I've been in the industry a long time, and I've helped many navigate through financial challenges and lead them to financial opportunities. I believe that people bank with people, so I'd like to invite you to stop by one of our region's 5 locations and meet our friendly, helpful staff. Let us show you our commitment to serving you and our communities. Because at Equity Bank, we're right here beside you. Member FDIC.
When it comes to car maintenance, it's good to know a local guy that can get things done. The Eller family has been in the auto repair business in Great Bend forever. Greg Eller continues that long tradition of helping people. Eller Automotive Repair specializes in wheel alignments, oil changes, and general maintenance for all makes and models of cars and small trucks. Open 8 to 5 Monday through Thursday, 8 to 4 Fridays. Eller Automotive Repair at 915 Morton, right behind Great Bend Appliance, Furniture, and Sleep Source, 10th and Morton.
Now, in its second decade, it's Sports Day on 1590 KVGB and 95.5 FM. Presented by Barton Community College and the Cougar Athletic Department.
Sports Day also brought to you today by the Marmy Auto Group on 10th Street in Great Bend. Equity Bank, here when you need them. Bank local, save big with in-person banking and business banking. And by Freedom Claims Management. Innovative healthcare plans for your business. Let them take care of everything for you from start to finish, and continued support. They have you covered. Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill says he could have handled elements of his traffic stop better, including leaving his car window down. That was the whole story. NFL averaging 21 million viewers per game during the league's opening week, making it the most watched week 1 on record. Even though the passing
even though the passing was down.
League and Nielsen said yesterday that the per-game average on TV and digital platforms, 12% increase over last year, as it stays popular. The Chiefs' victory over Baltimore averaged 29.2 million on TV and digital. Tom Brady's first game as Fox top analyst averaged 29.93 million.
For a Sunday afternoon regular season NFL football game.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Maybe they won't watch Tom as much.
They'll watch football. They won't listen to Tom.
They go to broad, yeah. NFL said it's investigating the latest civil lawsuit filed against Cleveland Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson to determine if he violated the league's personal conduct policy. And we always think it's just all roses, right, for NFL players. They make all the money, right?
Right.
Adrian Peterson's been ordered by a Texas judge to turn over personal assets to help pay a debt that had ballooned to more than $12 million.
Jeez.
Yeah, court-appointed receiver has begun to collect money from Peterson as part of a judgment against the 4-time All-Pro running back over a loan he failed to repay to a Pennsylvania lending company.
Quickly, I found out Olathe South scored the same way Great Bend did to start the season. Opening kickoff return for a touchdown.
Don't be late.
7
o'clock.
Friday night.
Yeah. Memorial Stadium. Should be a good one. We'll talk more about it tomorrow. Great Bend Panther football coach Aaron Beck will be in.